The price is right, aligning Title IV Part A program funds to district needs. This session will provide guidance for LEAs to make reasonable, necessary, and allowable cost decisions when using Title IV Part A funds within the three program content areas: well-rounded, safe, and healthy students, and the effective use of technology. Participants will hear how aligning the use of funds to federal requirements, district needs, diverse stakeholder input, program objectives, and intended measurable outcomes can maximize program effectiveness for students and staff. This presentation is intended solely to provide general information and guidance to Texas Education Service Centers, local educational agencies, and participating private schools, and reflects the Texas Education Agency's current understanding of statute and applicable federal guidance. The content of this presentation is subject to change as a result of further potential information and guidance provided by federal agencies with regulatory oversight of these programs. This presentation does not constitute legal advice, and entities are therefore advised to seek legal counsel regarding the information and guidance provided in this presentation before acting on such information and guidance. Today's agenda about our Price is Right presentation will reflect on program summary and requirements for Title IV Part A, Title IV Part A content areas, allowable use of funds, special data collection updates, the evaluation of program effectiveness, technical assistance and support, frequently asked questions, upcoming statewide training opportunities, and information regarding the school safety grants through the Department of Grant Compliance and Administration. Program summary and requirements. These are the program intent and purposes for the Title IV Part A program and activities: to provide students with access to a well-rounded education opportunity, to improve school conditions for safe and healthy student learning, and to improve technology in order to enhance academic outcomes and digital literacy of students. Statewide LEA use of funds data for 21-22 are as follows. Texas had 372 districts, representing about 35% of our LEAs participating in well-rounded education content area. There were 425 LEAs, or 41%, that participated in the Safe and Healthy Students content area, which is Texas's priority content area for districts. And there were 249 LEAs, or 24%, that participated in the effective use of technology content area. An LEA is required to engage in continued consultation annually with all listed stakeholders throughout the school year. These stakeholders are required of all districts regardless of the Title IV Part A allocation amount. In addition, the stakeholders must be included even if the LEA elects to transfer or reap 100% of its Title IV Part A funds. The required stakeholders include parents, students, private school officials, specialized instructional support personnel, local government, community-based organizations, principals, teachers, school leaders, Indian tribes, if applicable, others with relevant and demonstrated expertise, and charter school leaders if an agency or consortium supports the charter schools. The LEA will maintain a description of the activities and programming that it will carry out, including a description of any partnerships with an institution of higher education, business, nonprofit organization, community-based organization, or other public entity or private entity with a demonstrated record of success in implementing activities. All required program descriptions are to be maintained locally and available upon request from TEA and/or an auditor. The LEA will maintain a description of the activities and programming that it will carry out, including how funds will be used for activities related to supporting well-rounded education, how Title IV Part A funds will be used for activities related to supporting safe and healthy students, and how funds will be used for activities related to supporting the effective use of technology in schools. In addition, the LEA must maintain the program objectives and intended outcomes for activities and how the LEA will periodically evaluate the effectiveness of the activities carried out under this section based on the program objectives and intended outcomes. Data is reported through the Federal Program Compliance Smartsheet Work app. There are some content area requirements for those districts with at least a $30,000 allocation or more in their area of Title IV Part A grants. At least 20% must be spent on well-rounded education, 20% on the content area safe and healthy students, and for the effective use of technology, a portion not greater than 15% of the allocation. 85% may be used for staff professional development in the use of technology and data. Title IV Part A Content Areas. Well-rounded educational opportunities, ESA Section 4107. The purpose of a well-rounded education is to provide an enriched curriculum and education experience for all students. It starts with early learning opportunities that make time for exploration and continues with K-12 education. Another purpose is to promote a diverse set of learning experiences that engage students across a variety of courses, activities, and programs. A few examples of well-rounded education programs and activities that may be supported with Title IV Part A funds if supplemental and all other requirements are met are foreign language instruction, college and career counseling, science, technology, engineering, and math or STEM, including computer science, arts and music education, social emotional learning, environmental education, and civics education are just a few examples that fall under the category of well-rounded education. Here are a few examples of well-rounded education opportunities: computer science, welding, nursing programs or chemistry, folklore, dancing, or any other arts and music programs that would be in addition to what is required by state and/or local district. Safe and Healthy Students, ESA Section 4108. The purpose of Safe and Healthy Students in the Title IV content area are to improve school conditions for student learning, to help students feel healthy, safe, and supported, and to help students succeed in school. Some examples of safe and healthy students are including supplemental nutritional education, structured physical education activities that address chronic disease management led by school nurses, mental health, crisis management, and conflict resolution techniques, supporting those students that need additional assistance in the area of safe and healthy students. Effective use of technology, ESA Section 4109. Some of the purposes of effective use of technology content area are to support high-quality staff professional development in the area of effective use of technology, to improve academic achievement, academic growth, and digital literacy of all students, to accelerate and expand the impact of effective practices that support student learning, to increase community engagement, and to expand growth opportunities for all students. Provide historically disadvantaged students a greater equity of access to technology. Some examples of the effective use of technology includes students providing services for students in rural, remote, and underserved areas, access such as online courses, high-quality digital learning experiences, providing staff opportunities for professional development in the areas of the effective use of technology to support those teachers who are supporting students in their learning. In addition, it also includes technology infrastructure, which is limited to no more than 15%, regardless of the district Title IV Part A allocation amount. And technology infrastructure includes devices, equipment, and software applications for students and/or staff. Keeping with our theme of The Price is Right, if an LEA spends 85% on The Price is Right contestant wheel, it must remember that no more than 15% of the effective use of technology content area may be used for purchasing technology infrastructure. 85% of that content area may be used for staff professional development to assist them in the use of technology and data to support students. Regardless of the district's Title IV Part A allocation amount, whether it be above, at, or below $30,000, it is required to not spend more than 15% in technology infrastructure under the effective use of technology content area. Allowable use of funds. TEA has posted the Title IV Part A use of funds criteria as a resource to districts. This document provides federal criteria that districts must meet to ensure all activities are supplemental and eligible to be supported with Title IV Part A funds. Districts must keep documentation on file that all programs and activities supported by Title IV Part A funds meet the allowable cost criteria. This resource provides specific guidance for district staff to ensure allowable cost criteria requirements are met prior to expending Title IV Part A funds for any programs and activities. Participants may download a copy of the Title IV Part A use of funds criteria from the TEA website for more details. The updated Title IV Part A program guide provides federal and state program requirements, program guidance, and resources to assist districts utilizing Title IV Part A funds for programs and activities. A few recent updates to the program guide include statewide use of funds data and unallowable activities guidance. In addition, this guidance provides guidance and information on the LEA special data collection. This resource provides the tools to enhance districts' Title IV Part A program knowledge for both new and veteran district staff. It contains basic information as well as direct links to related information and resources available on the Texas Education Agency's website. This resource should not be perceived as an all-inclusive listing of all Title IV Part A statutory requirements. Upon certification and submission of the ESA Consolidated Federal Grant Application, LEAs certify that they will comply with all requirements noted in statute. All statutory requirements may be found in the program-specific provisions and assurances posted on the TEA Grant Opportunities page. For a link to the program-specific provisions and assurances, search by the grant application name and review the information located in the Application and Support Information section. Additionally, please note that any sample language provided in sections of this guide are examples of what LEAs and/or campuses may use as a guide. It is not meant for an LEA to copy and paste verbatim, as LEA policies and procedures may be different than what is provided in the sample language. As stated earlier, the intent and purpose of Title IV Part A is to use the grant designed to improve the academic achievement of all students by meeting the three purposes of the areas in well-rounded education, safe and healthy students, or improving school conditions for student learning, and improving technology in order to enhance academic outcomes and digital literacy of students. The latest Title IV Part A Topical Frequently Asked Questions document is located on TEA's webpage. This is an example of some of the questions and responses which are listed by topics. You may click on a topic and be able to review all of the most frequently asked questions in that particular area. Title IV Part A funds cannot be used to meet state and/or local requirements. This Title IV Part A funding question tool can help districts to determine if a program or activity is allowable. This chart takes you through program requirements as well as links to various documents to help a district decide if it is a supplemental program or activity or not, and if Title IV Part A funds may use that particular, may purchase that particular program or activity. The TEA Title IV Part A Use of Funds checklist can help with meeting program requirements when used properly. The purpose of the Title IV Part A School Safety State Initiative Allowable Use of Funds Guidance Handbook is to help LEAs select resources, tools, and guidance for related programs and activities, such as school safety, mental health, professional development, parent and family engagement, etc. This handbook will be updated regularly on ESC 14's Title IV Part A School Safety State Initiatives webpage as needed. Title IV Part A Special Data Collection Updates. The Title IV Part A Special Data Collection for 22 through 23. The Title IV Part A Special Data Collection method is through the TEA Federal Program Compliance Work app. This collection initially opened on January 16th of 2023, and it closed on March 16th, 2023. LEAs were to use the July 1st, 2022 through September 30th, 2024, which is the 27th month performance period of the grant. The LEA were to submit 2 Title IV Part A program objectives and measurable outcomes for the current year, established through stakeholder consultations and district needs. The LEA submitted those program objectives and measurable outcomes and indicated the content area per objective and measurable outcome. The report for initial progress toward the Title II Part A or Title IV Part A objectives and measurable outcomes will be reported starting in October of this year, and the work app will close December 1, 2023. At that time, each LEA will report on the initial progress toward the 2 Title IV Part A program objectives and measurable outcomes that it reported in January through March of 2023. This report will be used for the 22-23 school year. As a reminder, if there is 100% REAP and/or transferability option used for the grant, there will be minimal reporting that an LEA must submit when the work app opens October 1 of this year. Evaluation of program effectiveness. The evaluation of program effectiveness requirement is listed in the federal statute under Title IV Part A, Section 4106. The requirement is that a district must include a description of the activities and programming that it or a consortium of agencies will carry out with Title IV Part A funds. And as you can see, this includes the statutory citation and language. Title IV Part A LEA Special Data Collection Requirement. Compliance Report, which is the PR 3107 for Title IV, Program Compliance Self-Check Item, is the evaluation of program effectiveness. The LEA periodically evaluated the effectiveness of the programs and/or activities based on the objectives and intended outcomes. The LEA is required to complete an evaluation on the program effectiveness to ensure it's supporting the Title IV Part A activities and programs in which it is using for the current year. The program of effectiveness must be documented every 3 years. However, the best practice is to evaluate how Title IV Part A funds are being spent on programs and activities annually. The evaluation of the program effectiveness drives the future Title IV Part A activities and programs. The most recent documentation available should be submitted upon TEA and/or an auditor's request. In regards to student travel, the program evaluation for student travel must include an evaluation of the travel that measures the impact on student achievement. That includes any travel for student field trips, student competitions, or out-of-state travel for competitions or educational travels. However, the district is using the Title IV Part A funds in order to support student travel for educational related trips, it must include a program evaluation. This slide lists the program requirements for educationally related travel funded with Title IV Part A funds. It must be identified in the Comprehensive Needs Assessment, included in the Campus Improvement Plan. It must be allocable, reasonable, and necessary. It must include an instructional activity that cannot be conducted on campus and includes instruction that addresses the Texas Essential Knowledge and Skills, or the TEKS. In addition, student-related travel that is funded with Title IV Part A funds must have a positive impact on student achievement and must include an evaluation measuring that impact on student achievement. In summary, the program evaluation should include evaluating all programs and activities in which Title IV Part A funds were spent. That includes, as a reminder, periodically evaluating the effectiveness of program activities to support the objectives and intended outcomes that the district has submitted through the LEA special data collection, as well as annually submitting a report regarding how funds are used to meet the distribution requirements and how the expenditure will be evaluated to measure a positive impact on student achievement. Technical assistance and support. TEA has a Title IV Part A webpage that provides lots of resources and tools to support districts as they prepare and use Title IV Part A funds for staff and students. There is a list of district requirements. There's also several tools and documents in which the district can view to support the activities and programs it is using the Title IV funds for. LEAs may also receive assistance and support from the Title IV Part A Capacity Building State Initiative. 3 of the contacts for the ESC 14 Capacity Building Initiative are listed. In addition to the contacts, you may find lots of information posted on their webpage, such as school safety news and resources, mental health news and resources, state mandates and requirements that are related to program requirements for Title IV to ensure that the district is not supplanting any of the Title IV Part A funds. LEAs may also reach out to regional ESC staff who are available to provide technical assistance, support, and training in the areas of the 3 content areas for Title IV Part A, the comprehensive needs assessment, those LEAs that are providing private school equitable services. In addition, it helps to support LEAs in the areas of technical assistance and support with the use of funds, compliance requirements, the ESA Consolidated Federal Grant Application, the ESA Consolidated Compliance Reports, Gun-Free School Reports, random validations, persistently dangerous schools, as well as disseminating Title IV Part A information not only from the TEA, but also information that supports Title IV Part A from their local ESC. If you are still searching for answers to Title IV Part A questions, there are several other resources that you may view to be able to have answers. There's information on the Federal Program Compliances Division webpage, on the Title IV Part A webpage at TEA. We have several Title IV Part A program webinars that are posted, as well as resources that are posted on the Title IV Part A page, such as the program guide, frequently asked questions, the use of funds criteria. In addition, we have the ESA Consolidated Plan Application Program Guidelines for Title IV, as well as the program-specific ESA provisions and assurances. In addition, an LEA may view the Collaborative Comprehensive Needs Assessment Toolkit, which includes the required stakeholders and templates for the Comprehensive Needs Assessment, other resources, and documents that would be applicable for Title IV Part A programs and activities. The latest U.S. Department of Ed Title IV Part A non-regulatory guidance is posted on TEA's webpage. This guidance provides frequently asked questions by topical area. LEAs may find more specific allowable activities per content area in this document. There are additional USDE resources that are beneficial to any LEA working with Title IV Part A programs, such as the USDE Office of Elementary and Secondary Education Safe and Supported Schools webpage, the Federal Title IV Part A statute and requirements, the USDE non-regulatory guidance for Title IV Part A. There's a National Center on Safe Supportive Learning Environments that is sponsored by the U.S. Department of Ed in the Title IV Part A office. And then there's also a USDE National School Safety webpage. All of these are resources that would help a district when they're looking for more information regarding allowable uses of Title IV Part A funds, and as well as other activities and guidance in working with Title IV Part A content areas. Frequently asked questions. Is there a list of Texas state requirements related to Title IV Part A programs and activities for an LEA to avoid selecting, which would be deemed supplanting? The answer is yes. LEAs may review the Region 14 Title IV Part A School Safety State Initiative webpage for state training requirements and state mandates to ensure that it is not using the Title IV Part A funds to supplant activities that are state mandated. If a private school receives Title IV Part A funds from a district 1 year and has money left over for equitable services, but either does not want to participate or shuts down, may the remaining funds for equitable services go back to the public school in Title IV Part A. If the LEA provided equitable services for students in the private school in a particular year and there are carryover funds for services the following year, those funds are considered additional funds for services in both the public and private schools the subsequent year. The funds would be used along with other carryover funds for both public and private school students on an equitable basis. If an LEA carries over funds, must they maintain content area percentage distribution requirements? An LEA should be establishing its plans for spending across the content areas in its approved application and meet those commitments, whether in the initial year or carryover year. That said, an LEA must meet the spending requirements once for each year's appropriation. If there are questions regarding Title IV Part A carryover and/or fiscal waivers, who is the TEA contact? Questions may be emailed to staff and the TEA's Department of Grant Compliance and Administration. Where is TEA's best practice list of resources for mental and behavioral health? TEA's Mental and Behavioral Health Resources webpage provides guidance, hotlines to Texas mental behavioral health supports, best practice resources for schools, and state mental behavioral health requirements. Where are the statewide training session materials located? All training slides and voiced over presentations are located on the Federal Program Compliance Statewide Training Series webpage. Is there a TEA webpage that provides information on the LEA Special Data Collection for Public Reporting and its requirements? Yes, there is. LEAs may find information and requirements in the LEA Special Data Collection for Public Reporting section of TEA's Title IV Part A webpage. Statewide virtual training sessions. Title IV Part A resources are located on the TEA webpage under the Federal Program Compliance Division. The LEA Special Data Collection for Public Reporting section of the Title IV Part A webpage includes the Instructional Handbook of Requirements and Submission Details, as well as an LEA reporting worksheet that districts can use while preparing data for the Federal Program Compliance Smartsheet Work app. Additional resources are the January 2023 Title IV Part A Program Objectives and Measurable Outcomes voiced over presentation as well as presentation slides. In addition, there is a December 2022 training slide presentation and voiced over presentation slides for the Title IV Part A LEA Special Data Collection for Public Reporting, the ESA Title IV Part A LEA Special Data Collection for Public Reporting Handbook, the LEA Reporting Worksheet that may be used prior to inputting the data into the LEA Special Data Collection, as well as the Title IV Part A Program Guide. All of these resources may be found on TEA's Title IV Part A webpage. There are a few other training resources that are already available for an LEA to download or listen to. One is The Price is Right, Aligning Title IV Part A Program Funds to District Needs, that occurred on June 13th of 2013. Presentation slides and a voiced over presentation is available at the link provided. In addition, there is a Title IV Part A LEA Compliance Report and Self-Check training session that was conducted on January 13th, 2023. You may find presentation materials at the link provided, as well as the LEA ESA Consolidated Grant Application Training that was provided by the Grants Administration Division. There is a Texas School Safety Conference that is held annually in the summer. You may find additional information and dates for the next Texas School Safety Conference at the link provided. School Safety Grants, the Department of Grant Compliance and Administration. Information regarding the school safety grants may be found on this chart. The contact person for the School Safety and Security Grant, the Silent Panic Alert Technology Grant, is Nick Davis. You may contact him with any questions at his email address. And there is a contact email for the 2225 School Safety Standards Formula Grant Program. If you have any questions regarding these three grants, you may contact the persons listed from the Department of Grant Compliance and Administration, as well as the Safe Schools Division. The School Safety Grant Resources and Information has a webpage, has several resources in which a district may review. TEA contact information. LEAs may reach out to the Title IV Part A Program Director for support in the area of Title IV Part A programs and activities. The contact information is on the slide. Feel free to reach out if there are questions. Thank you for viewing this virtual presentation. Thank you for attending.